Hi everyone, it's Sue. I'm just doing a little bit of a craft with me, I guess, today. I've been inspired by a lady on Pinterest, so I've made these tags. I've done a couple, so I just thought I'd share with you the process. So they're very 3D, they don't have to be, you can actually glue them down if you want to. I just love that, you know, like the whole torn, textured look, 3D effect of them. So just wanted to show you those. So I thought while I was making some, I'm just trying to build up my stash for journals, because I've run out of tags and pre-made tags and that type of thing. So I thought I'll bring you along and I'll just show you how they're done. So what I've done is, so I've been inspired by, I think her name is Jenny Atkinson, so very similar to what she's done. I've just brought in a bit more colour. Yeah, anyway, well, if you want to look her up, I think her spelling of Jenny is Jennie, Jenny Atkinson. Yeah, she does beautiful work. So I'm just really loving this fussy cut book, this wing book from Minte Papers at the moment. And it's got, you know, birds and any like winged sort of creatures. So I've just been cutting out just the last couple of nights. I haven't been able to get my head in the game, so I've just been fussy cutting out these butterflies. So I thought I'll use those. Okay, so we may as well just get started. So on the background, what I've done is I've just done little spots. You can see there's just a tiny little bit of colour there. So what I've done with my watercolour palette here is just use some various colours and just put splotches on the page. So I have got a couple that I've done that are set aside to dry. So that's got a big spot on it. I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. It's all good. It can stay on there. So I'm just using one of these aquarelle pens, water pens, and just flicking randomly over the page, over the tag. So this is on watercolor paper. Really loving watercolor paper at the moment as a base for tags and that type of thing. So and it's easy manipulated to tear and that type of thing. So you can put as little or as much on as you like. So this is just a Jane Davenport red color, Ariel I think it's called. And I'll just go with might as well just go with the green that I've already got wet there. So, and that's another big blob. Doesn't matter. It's you know, you can add more color, less color, whatever you'd like to do. So that's all I do for the background. So obviously some of that's going to be covered up. I'm just going to pop my watercolors to the side so they're out of the way, and I'll just clean my brush here. Okay. So yeah, so last night I did you know, quite a few. I did I think 8 at a time. Just so that I could do it step by step, do 8 tags step by step. So, but I'll just show you one tag today and how it turns out. So I've just set those aside to dry, and these are a couple that I did earlier on, and they're all dry now. Okay, so what I did then was I just grabbed some ink and a script stamp. Doesn't have to be script. You can just so it's got a little bit of interest in the background. And I'm just going to randomly stamp, and this ink pad's an older one and it's on the way out, but I like it for this sort of impression. Is just like a light background, so something that you know you don't need something sort of really popping out. So you can see there it just gives you just another layer on your tag. So I may not get these 3 done, but at least I'll show you one. But while I've got the stamp out, I may as well stamp the other 2 as well. So very random, don't think about it too much. Okay. I've got a mess. I know I say that all the time, but it's just ridiculous today. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, as you can see, as another layer, there is this stamp here. So I've just used one of my Tim Holtz, I think it's from the correspondence range of stamps. So, and I'm just going to stamp 2 images. Sorry, just get some of this mess out of the way. I'm using this ink pad again, and I'm just pressing really hard to try and get some ink. And I don't know, I'm just going to eyeball it, because we're going to have a strip of paper going down the middle here. Okay, so just something like that. I'm going to do the same with the other 2, and I'm just going to flip my stamp just so that the image is different. Okay, and I'm going to do okay. So you can see those 3 that I've done there. Hopefully I'm on in screen there. Okay. So I'm just going to put the, cut them into tags. As I said, I don't have a straight eye. I use this tag punch board from We Are Memory Keepers, and I just use my Stanley knife and use the slot just to go through them. So you just know that you're going to get the same corner on your tag doing it this way. For a long time I just had a tag that I used as a template until I managed to get my hands on one of these, and it just saves so much time. Okay, you can see it's quite fluffy. That doesn't matter because we're going to rough up the edges of the tag anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to work on one for now. And what I did was I just went around and inked, and I'm using a darker colour on the white watercolour paper. So just very roughly ink up the edges there. You can do a little bit underneath if you want, because you will be turning some of the paper over. It doesn't really matter, I mean, because you can ink it up after anyway once you've turned it if there's too much white there for your liking, but there is all this white here. And I've got ink on that, it doesn't matter, it's just another layer. So I'll just do another one while I've got ink on this. So as I said, really roughly, see, that doesn't worry me that I've got that caught there and got extra. Okay, so we've got 2 there. Now we're going to put a piece of paper. I think Jenny used washi tape or something. I've just using, I picked up this paper on special at Spotlight, and I just thought it's fairly neutral, and you know, there's not a lot of colour to it, and that's sort of allowing the butterflies to be the feature on the tag. So that was just, this was just the edge of the scrapbooking paper, so I'm just tearing that. I do have a tear ruler, but when you're trying to get those tiny edges on the side, it's really hard sometimes. So you can see this piece of paper, but you can still see the stamps coming outside. That was the effect that I was going for. So I'm just going to tear that, and I only managed to get two pieces out of one strip. These are cut 1.5 inches wide. My tags are 3 inches wide. Okay, so now we're just going to ink. Once again, you don't have to ink if you don't want to. It just gives, it defines each layer, that's all. It's just gives it a little bit more interest. And all I did too was I just tore it in a couple of places, folded it back, added a bit of ink. Okay, so we may as well do 2 at a time. So it's Sunday here. It's a beautiful day actually. It's quite warm. I've actually had to kick my Ugg boots off inside because I'm sweltering, but outside I just went and took the clothes off the line, and it's just beautiful in the sun. But I'm trying to get as much crafting time in as I can today because I start my new job tomorrow. So and that's going to be full-time work, so I'm not going to get a lot of time in for a little while, so making the most of it today. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put some cheesecloth, or you could use what could you use? You could use sari silk. You could use any sort of fibre to go down the middle of this. So I'm just going to roughly cut just a strip, and you'll see why it doesn't have to be perfect. So what I did with that was, so you can see this one's like quite thick, but I mean the cheesecloth stretches. This one's sort of not as thick. It's sort of very, very random. So what I did was I just added a little bit of glue, tiniest little bit of glue, because we're going to sew this, and just twist it a bit, and however you like, and just sort of push that down. Into the glue so that that adheres. So you don't want too much glue on there because you're going to go through the, run it through the sewing machine. And because this is longer, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of twist it and ruffle it as I go. You can see it's very rough. There. Okay. All right, so these are just excess pieces of watercolor paper that I had cut for tags. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly sew with a zigzag stitch down this piece here. Okay, And I'll do that quickly on both. So I'm just off screen here a bit because I can't get my sewing machine in. So just bear with me for 2 ticks. That's one. And that's the second one. So you can see I've just sewn very roughly. It's not straight, not really perfectly in the center, but it doesn't matter. Now you can keep these really long if you want to. I'm actually just going to snip them. I've still got some hanging, but I'm just going to snip those threads off this time. Same with this one. Okay, and then what I've done is I've backed it onto some craft cardstock. Each tag. So let me just put my pin in this glue before it dries up, if I can find what I've done with that. Flicking it everywhere. So I'm just using, I've run out of my favourite glue and I'm just using this, I found this Micador Early Start. It's just a kid's glue stick and it seems to be working okay. So I'm just using this until I can get out and get some more. So I'm not going right to the edges because I want to be able to rough up the sides of the watercolor paper, and I'm leaving an edge around the watercolor tag. So I'll show you in a second when I cut it out. Okay. I'm just going to roughly cut off this excess. Now I'm going to cut, it's probably not even an 1/8 of an inch, it's probably more of a 1/16 of an inch off that watercolor tag there. I don't know whether you can see it because I'm trying to show you, but also so that I can see it to cut it fairly straight. So can you see, I don't know whether you can see there's only just the slightest edge around your tag that you can see the craft cardstock. And same thing, you could put any colour. So whatever colour, watercolour you've used for your splotches, you could even add that colour card. You could add coffee dyed paper. You could add coffee dyed cardstock. You could, yeah, it's endless really. And you don't even really have to have an edge if you don't want to. So I'm just going to, we'll do the two at once, just so that you get the idea. Yeah, so I'm getting really, really nervous about tomorrow. I've been okay, quite excited, but I think reality's sort of hit home today that I'm starting a new job, you know. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm not old, but some days I feel really old, but I just think, you know, 53, wow, starting a new job, learning, you know, in a completely new field. I don't know, I don't know whether anyone else is like this, but I've lost a lot of confidence as you get older. You sort of just think, am I going to be able to retain all that information and, you know, and learn all this new information. So I've been giving myself a hard time today, and I know I need to stop that, but That's easier said than done sometimes too, isn't it? So I'll have to let you know how I got on. I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just I've got to learn a new computer system, and yeah, it's just, and I'm not, you all know I'm not technically savvy, so I'm just going to sew around this tag with a straight stitch very quickly. And it's very rough stitching. So as you can see, it's not very straight. That's the look I'm going for. So I'll just quickly do this one as well. Okay, so we've done both of those. I'm just going to trim that extra thread off. All right, so once you've done that, what I did was I just went underneath with my nail. If you don't have nails, use like your bone folder or something like that. And I've just sort of lifted the watercolor paper off. You can see there. So just be careful you don't rip away from your stitching. So I'm just lightly dragging my fingernail around under there. And that's why I didn't glue straight to the edge. And I'm just going to use, I've just got these little scissors. And I mean, you can do this step before you sew if you like, but I like the fact that the sewing is there and it actually stops you from going too far into the tag. So all I'm doing is, because I've pulled that forward, I'm just roughing up the watercolor paper. See how it all just fluffs up? And so if it goes in towards the stitching, you can sort of fold that down. And I'm basically just going to do that all the way around the tag. Okay. Makes a bit of a mess. Now I just found the scissors were, these smaller scissors were better. I did try with my Stanley knife, but it cut into the tags too much. So this is just, I think you can get a distress tool as well that might work, but you'd have to do that before you actually sewed it, I think, to the craft cardstock. So you can see there, you can see all the texture that's added. And if you want to, you can just come back in with a little bit of your ink and just sort of, because you've got some of those edges showing from underneath, and just add another texture by adding some ink. Okay, so that's, I mean, that's even a lovely tag as it is, isn't it? Without the extra. So I'll just very quickly show you again. So I've just gone with my fingernail underneath and lifted that watercolor paper away from the craft tag at the back, and I'm just using my scissors to rough that up. And then, you know, you just press it down, like that bit there, it's torn right in there. Just rough it up as much or as little as you want. I haven't even worked out. I haven't done office work for probably 14 years. So, I mean, they're only smart casual dress, which is good because I don't really have any business attire. I mean, obviously I would have bought some if I had to, but so I'm going to have to do some ironing. Goodness me, it's the worst job in the world, to do some ironing this afternoon so that I've got my clothes ready for the week. So I'm just going around with the ink again and just really, and as you do that, you're pulling the watercolor paper. So you can see there. Now, what I won't do it now on camera, but I'll just do one. So what I also did was I just went around with, I'm just using Distress Oxide at the moment, Vintage Photo, and just ink around the back of your tag. You don't have to do that. I'll do the other one later. Okay, so I've also got ink all over my fingers because I've got ink everywhere, but it all adds to the look, so it's all good. Okay, so now, easy as this, we're just going to glue this piece onto the tag. And I don't worry about going right to the edge with this either, because if some of the paper lifts, that adds to the look of the tag as well. Now, I don't know these, whether I'm going to put, I might put an eyelet in some of them and some sari silk, and some I think I might just leave with the straight edge at the top. I like them with the straight edge at the top, so I'll leave them like that at the moment. And, you know, as I use them in particular journals, I may add sari silk or seam binding, satin seam binding or something. So I've just basically done that, you know, fairly central on the tag. Okay. So another thing that I thought you could do is, if you didn't have, you know, like a stamp or something like that, you could stick some labels or something underneath these pieces here. Would look really nice as well. So I may even do some of those down the track. And that's the basis of your tags. So then I've just, as I said, I've been sitting out at night watching TV and cutting these butterflies out. So we're just going to use, and I haven't even really, you know, I'm not overthinking the colours too much. I'm just doing what I think looks pleasing to my eye. You can use big ones on the bottom and layer them up smaller. You can use the same size like I've done here. The beauty of prepping your strip that goes down the middle, sewing it if you've got a sewing machine and you decide to do that, is you don't see any stitching on the back, so it gives you a clear run for lots of journaling. Okay. So I'm just having a look and seeing what we've got. So we might do something like that, keep all the blues together. As I said, they don't have to be, I mean, nature is not all one colour, is it? It's not all colour matching. Love this one. So I don't know, I like that one. I might even just do that one again. Okay, So what I've done is I have actually inked, excuse me, around the edge of these on the ones that I've done. So just do that. Aren't they beautiful butterflies? I mean, I know Artie Mays, there's lots of printables out there too that have got butterflies that you can fussy cut. And I know I've got some, but I bought that Wings book recently and just fell in love with the images. So I've just sort of been cutting them out and just thought, oh, well, I'm going to use those. You could use a stamp with butterflies on it if you have something like that, and then just do them in black and cut them out if you want to. It's pretty, it's only as limited as your imagination, really. So as you can see, I'm just doing this really roughly. I don't mind if it goes into the wings a little bit. Just all adds to that look. Okay, so what do you think? I quite like that. All right, so what I've done is I've just put a little bit, quite a bit of glue just in the center there. And what I do is I glue the bottom one first. And I just add my finger in the middle and just lift those. So just apply pressure just so that that glue sort of grabs. So I do the bottom first and the top, and then I pretty much just use them as an indication then as to where the center is. Okay, and the same with the top one. I just love these. These will be beautiful in any journal, any theme journal actually. Really loving watercolors at the moment. Just playing, and I can't draw or anything, but I mean, you don't have to be able to draw to be able to use watercolors. So, and I'm just going to eyeball it and try and put that in fairly well in the center. I'm just going to try and get underneath there to lift that wing. So what I've done is I'm squashing the glue out, and then I'm just lifting the wings. So they'll sort of, the glue will go to a certain point, and then the wings just lift around my finger there. So there you have one tag. Isn't that beautiful? And then that's just the back. So, I mean, I just like them as they are without even adding an eyelet and, you know, like a topper to your tag. So I think I'm going to leave them at the moment as they are. So we may as well just stick this one down, and then I'll just show you a few others that I've done. Okay. Love this one too. I think it was on the moth page. So what I'll endeavour to do is put, if I can find a link for Jenny's, I think Jenny Atkinson is her name. If I can find a link for her or something, whether she's on Facebook, Instagram, I don't really know actually, to be quite honest. I will endeavour to remember to pop that down, but if I don't, as you all know, I'm pretty hopeless with adding links. Her name is Jenny, Jennie Atkinson, and I'm quite surprised I remembered her name, but I used to go to school with a girl with the same name, so it's not her, but I think that's the only reason I remembered. So just manipulate the wings just so that they lift a bit and curl a bit. mean, obviously once they're sitting in a journal, they're going to go flat, but you can always, once the glue's really stuck down, you can always just lift them. How beautiful would these be as a gift card as well on a present, and you could write your message on the back there. So that's the second one that we've done. And I just love all the, you know, the messy bits around the side, and you get to see the craft cardstock on the back. So you can also go around with your ink if you want to, and just ink up the back of that card a little bit. You can't even really see, but I mean, you could, if you wanted to go with a darker ink, you could do that. So they're the two that we've just done now. I just love them. I just think they're beautiful, and they don't take a lot of time. That's one that I was showing you before. These are just a few that I've done. As I said, I'm trying to build up my supply of tags and journaling cards and that sort of thing, so I can, now that I'm going to be working, I can make some journals and still have some bits and pieces to go in them. So these are just some others. I just love them. So thank you, Jenny, for the inspiration. And I just love the colours, you know, like I love colours, but normally I like that, just that vintage monotone, you know, this sort of coffee dyed sort of colour. But the little pop of colour of the butterflies is just beautiful. So you can see, like, no, I've got different colours on each butterfly there. And here's one that I haven't got butterflies on yet, so we'll do that off screen. But that's it, guys. So I just wanted to share that with you, just the process. As I said, I was inspired by Jenny Atkinson on Pinterest, and I will definitely endeavour to try and remember to put a link down. I am really, really hopeless, and I apologise for that. But what I tend to do is I do videos in advance, and I probably should have a book beside me and write down the video on what I need to link. Maybe I'll do that. But I hope you like those. I just think they're beautiful. Yeah, just fell in love with the picture on Pinterest when I saw it. There's just so much that you could do. You could put small words, you know, going up the bodies of the butterflies. You could put word, you know, in the middle of one. It's endless. It's, as I said, it's only as limited as your imagination. So that's it, guys. I had better go and get organised for my first day on the job. Wish me luck. By the time you see this, I will have already started the job and probably be quite a few days into it. So I am expecting to be quite exhausted mentally, having to take in so much information. So therefore you may not see a lot of me in the next couple of weeks, but once I get myself all sorted, I will be back. And I'm certainly not going to be giving up my craft time, so it's going to be my downtime. All right, guys, look, take care. I hope you're all keeping really well, and I hope you enjoyed this today. And go and follow Jenny on Pinterest. She does some amazing stuff. And I'll see you again soon. So until next time, I hope you get a little bit of crafting time in. Bye-bye.